Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a foundation review. I feel like it's been quite a while since I've done a foundation review, and in all honesty, it's probably because I haven't really bought many foundations lately. The one that I'm going to talk about I've had for well over probably 6 weeks now, and it is the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. Now, I have just been introduced to this brand probably 3 months ago in the form of Instagram, kind of Google recommendations type thing, because Google, you know, knows your entire life. And the brand looked interesting. It is a clean beauty brand, kind of in the green beauty sphere of things. And it looked interesting, but there wasn't anything that I was like, oh my goodness, I have to have right now, until I saw advertisements for this product. So this is fairly new to the line. And again, it is a tinted face oil, which also really struck me because I'm all about facial oils. They're one of my very favorite products when it comes to skincare. So to have one that claimed it could have from sheer to full coverage, I was very excited to look into it more. This is $42. It is the standard 1 fluid ounce, comes in a plastic packaging with a twist off top and a dropper. The dropper does come in handy because they do suggest a certain number of drops depending on how much coverage you want for your face. It is, again, $42. It is, let's see, I wrote down where all it is available. Neiman Marcus, really? Okay, let's try that again. Neiman Marcus, Detox Market, Citrine Natural Beauty, Violet Grey, Credo Beauty, and of course Kosas.com. It's probably available on other things as well. I got mine off Detox Market. Probably across the board, the easiest thing to do is use Neiman Marcus, but Detox Market was very fast shipping. I've always had good luck with them. So that's where I got it. So it only comes in 10 shades, which at first you're kind of like, ugh. But if you look on Kosas.com, they have videos of some models that have used it. It is a very large shade range. Even though it's 10 shades, because it's a face oil, it's almost along the lines of a tinted moisturizer, but with more coverage. So it spans more skin tones. In fact, the website says that the 10 shades will actually cover 30 different skin tones. And I honestly believe that with the range that you see in the shades. It claims to have a medium coverage, but it also gives directions on how many drops to use for a fuller coverage. We'll see in the demo if I find that it's buildable. It claims that it's hydrating, and it has 3 types of pigments combined with 6 botanical oils to give a velvet finish and a self-adjusting color. So I am going to read the oils very quickly so that you get an idea of what's in it. Also, if you're allergic to any of these oils, you'll know that you could probably just skip out on this video because it's not going to be something you're interested in. There's avocado oil for deep hydration, meadow foam oil for moisture locking and plumping, red raspberry oil for reparative and toning, jojoba oil, soothing and balancing, green tea seed oil, pollution and free radical fighting, and rose hip seed oil, brightening and clarifying. So very well-known oils that have great benefits to them, all combined into one to create this tinted face oil. So I will say real quick before we get into the demo and my review, if you have ever tried the Gressa Skin Serum Foundation, this is very similar to that in texture. I find it to be a little bit lighter in weight, and it is not offensive smelling. The Gressa has broccoli seed oil, and it really smells like it has broccoli seed oil. I'm not sensitive to scents, and I could not tolerate that. Like, it was just too much. This does not have that. So if you're familiar with Gressa, keep that in mind as we go into this demo and review so that you can kind of compare the two yourself. So if you're interested to see how the Kosas tinted oil works for me and my skin, then just keep on watching. All right, let's go ahead and get to applying. I'm not going to use a primer today. I have used these over all types of primers, and surprisingly, it works pretty well over all of them. A lot of times when you've got more serum oil-based foundation, it's not going to go as well over thicker primers per se, and it may have a little bit too much slip if you're putting it over hydrating primers. But I have found that it pretty much works over all types of primer. I've also found it works without one. So I know that this is kind of like a super quick put on with your fingers if you want to type of foundation product. So if that's kind of what you're aiming for, you're probably not going to be reaching for a primer anyhow. So I'm going to skip today, and I'm going to shake it up really well because it is very liquidy. And per the directions, it says if you want a medium coverage, use 2 to 4 drops. If you want a fuller coverage, use 4 to 6 drops, which doesn't sound like a lot, but we're going to start out with 3 drops, and I'm going to show you how far that goes, and then I'll show you how to build it if we find or if I find that I need to. So it comes like this, and when you turn it over, it does actually drop out pretty easily to where it's not going to flow out. You have control over the amount of drops you're using. So this is the color, and it's very, sorry, it probably did not focus, but it's so liquidy. So it's number 4, and I'm just going to take a little bit with my finger, and I'm going to start rubbing it in with my finger. And then I just kind of pat to make sure that there's no streaks. I'm just going to do it over this side. So today, we've got lots of crows outside. Today I don't have that much to cover, honestly. My redness is pretty tamed. That's so funny. It's like literally right outside my window. I'm just wanting to even out my complexion, but I do still think that you'll be able to see the amount of coverage that it gives. I do like that it does apply pretty well with your fingers, so I can get really well into these crevices around my nose that sometimes can be a little bit hard for a brush to get. So I still have just a tiny bit amount. I'm going to try to scrape as much as I can and then build it up anywhere I find I might need a little bit more coverage. And then we'll go in with a couple more drops just to see if I can get some of this redness over here covered, just to show you the amount of coverage that you can get. But as you can see, it does have a nice luminous finish. It is an oil, so that is to be expected. So I'm going to take 2 more drops. So now we are into the 5-drop category, which they claim is full coverage. I'm going to use a brush to build it up, and I'm just going to put it right over here where my redness is the heaviest and kind of stipple it in with the brush. So that covered it up. I mean, I don't know how it's showing on camera, but that added a lot more coverage right there. Same on this side. So I hope that that's translating. This is a very buildable foundation. I put very little on my forehead because I find I don't really need a ton on my forehead. I just want to kind of make the colors match. I have a little bit left, and I'm going to use that to bring down my neck. It spreads really easily with a brush. I find you get actually a wider range of spreadability with the brush than you do your fingers, but it applies nicely both ways. So that is using 5 drops, which is very, very minimal of this foundation. And this is the coverage that you get. Now, when I come up close or closer, I'm hoping you can tell that my pores are pretty normal, even though it is more of a luminous foundation. I don't feel like it's accentuating it, and we'll see what it's like once I get the powder on it. But other than that, it's pretty normal. It is something that you will want to set. I do not find you will ever be able to get away with this not setting it. Because it is so oil-based, it is slip. It does have a slip to it. So even when I just touched it with my finger right there, I could feel that I brought a little bit of product off of my face onto my finger. So it is something that you're going to want to set for sure. And I'll tell you when I get back what powder and stuff I use to set. But I'm going to go finish the rest of my makeup. We'll see how it looks with everything else on. And then I'll tell you my final thoughts. All right, so I finished the rest of my makeup, and this is how the foundation looks. I did set with the Well People Bio Brightening Powder, which I have to say is growing on me. I didn't love it as much when I first tried it many moons ago, but I am really liking it now. And this is the way it looks. I will say that when I applied my concealer, because I typically do like to go a little bit down, I don't do the whole V and all in the middle of my face and everything, but I like to go a little bit down to meld it into my foundation. And when I did that, I did not pick up any of the foundation or any of the Tinted Face Oil, I guess I should say, which was a concern of mine when I first started using this because of how easily it picked up with my fingers off my face. But I didn't have an issue with that. It melted in and blended in really well. I didn't have any like pickup on the brush when I set it with powder, and I didn't have any disruption when I went in to blend my other powder products on top of that. So all in all, it performed beautifully with my other makeup products. As far as how it looks, I think my pores look even better now that I've set and had some powder on it. and I don't find that they are pronounced in any way. I don't have big enough pores to where I'm really uncomfortable with them, and I feel like I need to fill them in with a primer every day. So I am perfectly fine with the way they look now, and I'm really happy with the amount of coverage that it gives. So my final thoughts on this, because I want to try to make this as quick as possible in Mandy terms, is that if you're looking for something that is super lightweight, because I honestly could not feel this one bit. It did not feel any thicker than my moisturizer, when in fact my moisturizer is thicker than this. It really blends into the skin, as you saw, very nicely, and absolutely cannot be felt on the skin. So that's a huge plus in my book. It's moisturizing. I will say I feel like it could be a little bit more moisturizing. I was a little surprised actually with as many oils that are based in this foundation that it wasn't more moisturizing. I'm not saying it's drying, but I don't feel the moisturizing effects throughout the day, if that makes sense, especially this time of year. But again, it's not like it doesn't suck all the existing moisture out of your face. I just don't feel like it really adds much hydration throughout the day. Because of that, I really think that unless you are like super duper oily, that you could probably use this. And really, even if you are oily, it may end up working, because a lot of times oils on oily skin work the best, because it kind of tricks your skin into thinking it has what it needs, so it doesn't produce anymore. So it might be worth a try. Unfortunately, I don't think you can get samples of this anywhere, but I do know that pretty much all of the online retailers you can buy it from do have good return policies. I think if you have dry skin, it's going to work really well. I have used this on peeling days. It's not my favorite, but it did work. I just felt like it did kind of sit on top of the peel a little more than I wanted it to, versus kind of melding into it and kind of taking it away, even if temporarily. So, you know, I feel like the best people that are going to benefit from this are normal to slightly dry to combo skin. If you're super oily, I don't know. I think kind of everybody in the 75% middle of the range of skin types would enjoy this foundation. So it is super lightweight. It's going to work for a good amount of skin types. It is clean ingredients. It really has absolutely nothing non-toxic. However, it is not a bad smelling foundation like the Gressa was or is. And that's just my opinion. Some people love the way Gressa smells, just not my. There is no evident scent that would bother me. Now, I will preface that by saying I am not very sensitive to smells. So a lot of times some people will like tell me that they couldn't stand the foundation because it smelled, and I'm like, but what smell? So you're gonna take that with a grain of salt, because I don't really get, other than that Gressa, I really don't get put off by smells that much. I just don't really see one. It's definitely not one that lingers if it is there at all. And it's definitely not a synthetic fragrance, so that matters to me a lot. So as far as longevity, I don't have an issue at all. I find it's held up really well through workouts and sweat. I don't even really have the line of demarcation that I sometimes get on my forehead because I sweat so much from that area. It really holds up very well. I have normal skin, but because of that, I feel like if you do have combo, it is going to work really well on you. In comparison to the Gressa, I felt the Gressa broke up on me towards the end of the night and kind of started separating a little bit on my face. I don't find that that does this. So again, if you have tried the Gressa, that's kind of the comparison I will have between those two. I do find this to be much longer lasting. So if you're looking for something that can range from full face to slapping on with your fingers for a day out just to get a little bit more coverage, all the way up to medium full coverage, I think this is definitely something to try, especially if you are more in the lines with clean beauty. I know a lot of y'all don't care about it. It's kind of a better safe than sorry thing for me. Like, I obviously, being with Beautycounter, I really believe in the mission of getting cleaner ingredients and products out to everybody and having them available. But I also have conventional makeup that I love as well. It's just a like, why, if I can find good products that are cleaner, why wouldn't I? Type of thing. So I did want to introduce this to all of y'all and not just on my clean beauty channel, because I think it's something that a lot of y'all will enjoy. So as far as age ranges, that's the last thing I'm going to kind of touch on. I don't find that this settles into lines very much at all. So I do think that if you have more mature skin, you're really going to like this because it is super lightweight and there's really not much to settle into anything, period. But it still provides the coverage. So anyone from young to mature, I think is really going to enjoy the finish and coverage of this foundation. So hopefully I covered all the bases. Hopefully you were introduced to a product that you may not have already heard of. I am very interested in trying more from this brand, so if you have tried anything else, let me know what it was, and I will start making a list for sure, because I was overly impressed with this product. So if you have any questions, be sure and leave it down in the description box below. Hopefully you found this video helpful in some form or fashion, at the very least entertaining. As always, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.